So I've been meaning to put out a Mercury retrograde video, but we also have this beautiful full moon that was approaching, and I wanted to kind of mix and mesh and mold the energies together to see what I could formulate for you guys, because so much has been coming through me, and I just wanted to ground myself some so I could really create something potent that highlights a little bit on everything, and then point you in some directions where you can get a little bit deeper knowledge and information if you're looking for it from some other very well-known astrologers that I tune into and that I listen to. So that will be highlighting other things like the Chiron transit and more on the full moon. I'm going to be talking about more of the full moon and the Mercury retrograde and Capricorn, as it's almost finishing up here on January 1st, but then we'll have the shadow phase. So I just kind of want to go through those themes, as the Capricorn and the the Capricorn and the Cancer energy, those are opposites. So have a lot of familial themes and past themes and, closing up cycles and things like that, traditional things and values changing, and a lot of things within the family dynamic changing as well. So let's get started on our talk. So I do apologize for not getting this out sooner, but there has been wild, crazy energies about that I've needed to kind of catch up with and sit with and really tune in with and see what is going on. Like, we had the retrograde and I'm like, okay, I can feel this, and this will need to be kind of discussed, but there's more. There's so much more. There's the full moon, and then we had Chiron direct in Aries as well, which was just, I'm not going to get too much into that. Chiron is not my expertise. I will leave that to some others. But I would love to talk about the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, as well as the moon in Cancer, the full moon being in Cancer. This is just such a profound placement of these planetary alignments for the last part of 2023. For those of us astrologers, we know that the zodiacal new year begins in Aries season. So I really like to celebrate the new years around Aries season. So that's like April, March time. More so April and the spring. So that's a big thing that people are also catching on to, is the Gregorian New Year versus the zodiacal New Year, and what is the difference, and which is man-made and which is one more based on a natural cycle. So about this Mercury retrograde, depending what system you're looking on, we're going to have our Mercury retrograde in Capricorn and also Sagittarius in Western astrology. And in Eastern astrology, we're going to have Mercury in retrograde in Aquarius, and then going back to Capricorn. Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about the Western part, so more the Sagittarius and the Capricorn energies. But first, I kind of wanted to discuss a little more what is a Mercury retrograde, because this is probably one of the heavier placements that we could have a Mercury retrograde in, and I'll explain a little bit more about that, on why, depends on the sign, which is the function of the planet, how it works through. That's the sign. The sign identifies the function of the planet, which is Mercury, communication. Capricorn is an earthy Saturnian energy. So, they kind of don't work the best, but can work. It just depends how we're working it. It can definitely be an uncomfortable position right now, especially with our square with Neptune causing more confusion a little bit. So it's really just time to be within, relax, and rest, which is so hard for me, at least. Like, I should be resting right now. Don't be mad at me, Jose. I am doing my best, but this video has been like crawling at the back of my brain. And also all these energies, like kind of wrestling and wrangling them, seeing what exactly wanted to be brought forth through me, because it's not everything. And there's certain things that I have expertise in that should be brought through. So yeah, we have Mercury in retrograde from December 13th to January 1st, sorry. And then on December 23rd, which has already passed, now we have our Mercury in Sagittarius. So I guess my system in operating, I needed to wait until Mercury was in Sag to formulate better, because Mercury in Capricorn was definitely more heavy and needed more contemplation and more isolation, and just being in that Capricorn space of the study and mapping and laying everything out of the foundation, and really like looking at the broken boards and what is broken, and also just like looking at the review of our entire year. Like, Capricorn energy is great for that, just like sifting through and pondering and, you know, really weighing the pros and cons realistically, and, you know, looking back at the year and being like, all right, what was accomplished this year? What wasn't accomplished this year? What did I want to accomplish this year that I did? What did I accomplish, you know, that I didn't even mean to, like I didn't set out as a goal? All that type of stuff can be like a, you know, it's a reviewing time. And, you know, it could have definitely been feeling more restrictive, because the themes with Capricorn and Saturn can be a little bit more heavy and uncomfortable, especially as it brings through, like, you know, this holiday season. So more traditional things with our families and our family environments. And that always can go one way or the other, as it can bring up like traumas or, you know, disagreements or oppositions, or it's a great opportunity also for healing. It really just depends how we all look at it. So a retrograde, I just want to talk briefly about what exactly is a retrograde. So we know what's happening with these planets when we say, oh, Neptune's in retrograde or Mercury's in retrograde, which happens pretty often. So it's an optical illusion that occurs when Mercury appears to be moving backwards in the night sky. But what really is occurring is that Earth is briefly overtaking Mercury's orbit, depending on like their position and where they're at. So, you know, it's pretty cool when you think about it in that like macrocosmic way of like, whoa, these planetary bodies doing these things that are creating these effects on the psyche. So cool. Because Mercury is a fast planet or a personal planet, meaning it's a planet that shifts and orbits quickly through the zodiac signs, like the sun, like Venus, like Mars. Those are fast planets, personal planets. And Mercury rules communications and intellect, memory, transportation, you know, writing, public relations, thing like that. I think of Mercury as like the paper boy, like, paper, here's the news, look what just happened. Everyone must know this, you know, this is new, hot, fresh off the press. So that type of energy, when it's in a retrograde period, it's a period of reflection. It is a period of reflection. Currently, that the planet, the function of the planet is in. So Mercury's function is communications and, you know, marketing and public relations, transportation, things like that. And it's going to affect everyone differently depending on the placements of your sign, but also it's going to affect us similarly, because it's like a collective thing and happening. So it's pretty like, it's Gemini. There's so many different avenues that it can go when we are talking about Mercury, as it is like just doing so much. So it's kind of like pausing and slowing down. Mercury is a planet that's ruled by Gemini and Virgo, and it's a I consider it an air element planet. Mercury, also the god with the wings on the feet. So yeah, airy, fairy. And our Capricorn is the sign that rules over the planet Saturn. It's an earth sign. She is feminine. She rules over time, responsibility, boundaries, discipline, structure, traditions, foundations, karma, and delayed gratification, which I thought was like a really important piece to make about Capricorn. That delayed gratification piece, meaning like we're working every day, we're putting this in every day, even though we're not receiving instant results, even though we're not receiving instant pay. We're putting in this like blind faith, if you will, because it is going like, and there is guaranteed gratification. There is the guaranteed gratification. It's just not going to be instant. It's going to be delayed. And that's kind of Capricorn's purpose, Saturn. It's just like, no, we don't get to reap these benefits now, my son. Years down the line, you know, and then it's like years down the line, you realize and you're thankful for all of that hard work, even though it was like really hard work to put in and to not like receive all those benefits quite instantly. So that is our Capricorn energy for Mercury, and the ways that our reflection is going to be on. We're going to be reflecting on our responsibility, our time that we put in and where we put our time in, our boundaries and how we're withholding our boundaries, where we're withholding our boundaries, where we need to withhold our boundaries a little bit more, our discipline and our structures. We're also analyzing that. We're analyzing and looking at our discipline with our structure, our discipline within our structures, and if it's been helpful or if it's been harmful, if it needs to loosen up or tighten up or change in certain spaces. We're looking and analyzing at our traditions and our foundations. And karma is especially a big theme right now, is looking at where have I put this energy in and what is it gifting back to me, and looking at those themes a little bit as to why. A quote, I don't remember where I saw this. Big thing I also was experiencing was the theme of limitation and the concept of limitation and being limited, and where I'm being limited and why, and where I'm still choosing to be limited. That was a big thing with the Capricorn energy. Now that the energy has been shifting a little bit, it's definitely been a bit different. So with our Sagittarius energy, it's actually Mercury's detriment, because Sagittarius is opposite Gemini sign. So Gemini and Sagittarius are opposition, so that puts the Mercury energy in detriment. So Sag energy, I love Sag energy. I'm always talking about Sag energy, that centaur, balance between wild man and nature, civilized man, you know, the healthy balance between both, and making sure that we don't lose too much of one or too much of the other, or allow one to take over the other. So we're that balance between nature and man. The Sagittarius rules over philosophical natures, knowledge by travel, and is known to be the spiritual warrior, and also rules over freedom. So we're learning, like, I think it's so beautiful, this Mercury retrograde, like that balance of like, okay, where are we limited? Where are we free? Where are we limited? How do we be free? It's learning, it's like teaching us how to be the medicine, which is that like Chiron, wounded healer, being our own medicine, looking like being our own antidote, which is what I'm all about, you know, that being my own antidote and sucking the venom out of myself and being my own anti-venom, all about it. So with all of that, we have a square with Neptune, which is going to throw in quite a bit of confusion, quite a bit of a little more emotion. You know, it's gonna maybe possibly some more frustration because confused and, you know, charged emotions along with this full moon. The full moon being in Cancer, y'all, depending what system you're looking at. Yeah, the systems change the energy. So make sure Vedic, Eastern, Western, tropical, you're looking at the signs and you're looking at the energies. I like to look at both. I like to have an insight of both because it gives me a more well-rounded view of the energy from different octaves, if you will. So yeah, this, for me, like, just this cultivation of this full moon is just like this Cancer gives this like releasing energy, this like emotional, like, this emotional deep release that is just so beautiful. And, you know, womb based and maternal. Cancer is ruled by the moon, or rules over the moon, and is feminine and rules over the ocean. Her archetype is the crab, so she retreats in her shell when she is, you know, needing to. Cancer is known to be moody, but really it's because she rules over the moon, and the moon changes signs about every 2 days, 1.5 days. You know, it's just constant changing, shifting, very extremely watery energy, and it's very beautiful, and it teaches us a lot, especially when we are able to harness and look at the energy in the highest light, which is not like an emotional mess and feeding into all of our emotions. More so looking at where our emotions are, especially where they're showing up right now regarding family, like looking at everything, allowing it all to come up. And this is something big in my world right now that I'm going through, is really just allowing the deepest of emotions that are not comfortable and not pretty and not like, I'm just so over them and done with them. Like, they're so far away from who I've become now, and I may have been carrying them around still, whether they were thought forms or ways of being or just like these little habits that were sticking with me. You know, it's really analyzing them, plucking them, washing them away, and allowing the emotions to like be the cleansing. That water element of cleansing can also be through tears, or just like taking baths, showers, going to hot springs, hot tubs, going swimming, you know, embodying and allowing that water element, drinking water even, really internally taking in more water to allow our internal body to cleanse and detox more, and really just serve our bodies right now so that the emotions can feel through, you know, and doing all the comfy things that make us feel comfortable in our bodies and our minds and our spirits and our souls, and really choosing peace and choosing harmony and choosing our highest, even though it may not be the easiest, and you know, but it really is now. We don't have to keep feeding the past stories, which is the thing with Capricorn. I think that's why a lot of people were struggling, is because the past themes were like keeping them limited in their past. But I think it really was just coming up for a review, like, this can't happen anymore, or this is what needs to go, or this is what needs to change. Whatever we were most triggered or annoyed by was probably most likely the things, or were the things that needed to be analyzed the most. But now that we have the Sag energy, and then until the 1st, and then we'll have a little bit of a shadow period, we should be seeing more and gaining more insight now. We should be seeing more ways to expand and to move beyond limitation and surrender to our highest, and also take risks. Sagittarius is all about healthy risk taking, and I think a lot of us are moving out of a stage of not feeling comfortable to take risks, kind of being scared and bullied out of taking risks and doing new things. And it's really time for us to expand and waltz into the things that our soul is calling into. And we're having that reflection period right now. So allow your time, allow your space to cry, to purge out the rest of 2023, 2023, 7-year of the water rabbit, as we waltz into next year, which will be year of I believe it's the wood dragon. I know it's the year of the dragon, but I'm not sure. 2024 is an 8-year, but I think the element is wood. But it's going to be a dragon year. Nonetheless, it's going to be absolutely profound and beautiful and expansive and evolutionary for all of us if we choose it. Or it's going to be super intense and the opposite if you're not on the spectrum of, growth and becoming your highest. It all depends how we look at these things. So that's what a Mercury retrograde is all about. We're reviewing, we're reflecting, we're changing, we're analyzing, we're sitting still, we're resting, especially because we have this full moon in Cancer, a full moon in her natural sign of Cancer. We're going to be asked to sit down and kind of analyze. It's also shadow work, some more shadow work that could be needing to be done, or some more just, looking at things, finalizing things, but allowing that time and that space. Cancer kind of I love Cancerian energy because it's so just emotionally raw and real. It's just like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's, there's a time and a place for it. And it's right now, especially with this beautiful Mercury retrograde. Get it out now. Get it out now before next year. So that's all I have to say about this transit. I'm going to point you in some directions to look at some other videos by some beautiful astrologers that I like to tune into from here on YouTube. You can tune into Sabrina Rewilding for Women. She posts videos quite often, and she's just amazing, absolutely phenomenal. If you are on this wave of feminine rise and empowerment and you're not watching Sabrina, you need to watch her. Her energy is absolutely contagious, so beautiful. She also puts out just so many different types of videos and does a lot of courses and trainings as well. And also Rasa Lila Healing, Timothy Halloran. I'm always sharing his stuff. He is talking about a lot more things. The moon, Chiron, has his perspective on the Mercury retrograde in his most recent video. But he also has an astrology school and so many unique opportunities and things he's sharing. He just came out with a beautiful calendar. It's a collaborative project between him and an artist. I forgot her name. I believe it's Selena, but I don't remember exactly. But they just came out with a 2004 calendar, physical calendar with some artwork in there with some transits. So definitely go check it out. I will link their names or put their names in the description of this video so you can see. And also another person I love to tune into. I haven't been tuning into him too much lately as I've been really studying sky astrology and Vedic astrology this year. So I've been kind of tuned out of Western astrology, but I'm always going to have that view and that scope. As an astrologer, I feel like the more systems I learn, I'm just going to be able to kind of have my head in a bunch of them and kind of compare and see, like, that's like seems like a great thing for me. So Esoteric Sky, his videos are really great too. He has shifted a little bit of his stuff onto Patreon, but he does still put a lot of free content out on YouTube, which is amazing. And his Patreon also is really great. There's a lot more individual readings and opportunities like that in there, and Timothy also offers that stuff as well. So I'm gonna go rest now. I still need some more rest. I get these spurts of energy and I gotta take advantage of them. And I really needed to get this video out. I know it's a little bit late. I hope it's still very useful in your highest and serves you in your highest. Wishing you all the love, so much love. I'm so proud of you for making it to the end of this year and just, really just brushing on through it. This year was definitely, it was a year of consistency, definitely a year of some upsets, triggers, troubles, you know, so much going on in the world right now. You know, it's really just such a time for us to really recognize the beauty in each other, in the world that we do have, and expand on that as much as we can, and piggyback and build up on that as much as we can. So yeah, sending you all the love and so much love, abundance, and health wishes for this next solar year of 2024, an 8-year of the dragon. Healthiest New Year wishes, and talk to you soon.